Now we're going to look at articulating the vision, of putting it into a formula, into a set of words, into a picture, into a whatever. It needs to be some way that is articulated. Why? Well, it's actually because the why of why we're doing whatever we're doing, it needs to be very compelling. It needs to be something that will drive people forward. You know, that we have a sense of vision in us of what needs to change. We need to be able to articulate that so that other people can understand why we're doing what we're doing. Maybe they may then catch that and say, hey, I have the same sense of vision. So it needs to be something that's communicated with a sense of enthusiasm and energy and excitement even. Maybe you can try to identify the story in which your vision sits. You know, that you explain, well, there was this situation, this is how it now is, I see it as being different in the future, and therefore. And you know, there's a real sense of where it sits in that bigger story, that people can then see where it is and how they might be able to join in with it. Because a story will give context and life to a vision. It also makes it more memorable and possibly easier for them to also repeat and maybe enthuse other people with as well. The vision also needs to act as a guide. You know, the leader needs to set a direction for people to go in. You know, essentially they have to act as a compass that helps the followers to know which direction they need to go in. It's not just the direction that the leader is going in, everybody else somehow needs to follow them. And sometimes you may need to explain why you need to go somewhere, and how we're going to get there. And so the leader needs to flick between using a telescope of understanding the big picture and saying, okay, that is the broad direction we need to go in, but also the microscope of saying, and here's some of the details that we need to figure out. And the leader needs to constantly flick between those two, of jumping back and remembering the big picture and helping people see the big picture, but also helping them to see the detail of the bit that they contribute to and where do they fit in. And it's quite a challenge for leaders to be able to flick between those two different scopes, the telescope and the microscope. But we have to share the vision with others, because we want other people to join in with it. Okay, so who do you share it with? Well, it can be useful to try and identify, first of all, who are the influencers? Who are the people with power in your organization? Who are the people in the team who you need to get their support if you want to get the whole team on board? And it may be that to start with, you just communicate kind of like one-to-one with them. Make it a very personalized conversation. Listen to their feedback. Answer their questions. Be very honest and open with them. And let people know that it's very important that they are on board and that you really want to understand their position as well, if we together are going to see this vision fulfilled. So share with maybe a few people to start with, maybe not everybody on initially. Maybe you need to pray about it. Maybe it's something that you want to share with God, and try and get broader, bigger perspectives on things. But once you have shared it and you think you have polished it a little bit and you're starting to get a sense of, yeah, I think I'm on the right track. Well, then maybe you could make the vision more visual. You know, when you paint a picture that people can really see, it's easier for them to grasp it, to get behind it. You know, when we're all sitting in a meeting room talking about, you know, Objective 1.6, it's much harder to get a hold of what are we talking about here. So what can we do to make the vision more visual? It may be that there are particular pictures that we can use or metaphors that we can talk through that will help to articulate the vision in people's minds more readily. It's also true that we need to keep the vision very simple. There's if we try and explain it to friends and we find that they're just not understanding it because we're taking too long to explain it, then maybe we need to keep it simple, stupid. Really focus in on what is the core of this vision. How can we keep it simple in ways which can still be articulated and contain the whole message? And then, of course, when you're sure that you definitely have the right message, you need to regularly articulate it, that you're saying it over and over again, consistently. That you put it on posters that are stuck on the wall. You use it in the speeches when you're talking with your staff. You send it in as part of emails. You help people to see where they contribute to the vision. Again, you articulate it over and over again. I remember that Mark Galpin was somebody who was very good at repeating the vision and helping people to find their place in it. I can also remember this gentleman. He constantly seems to have his finger in the air because this was the articulation of his vision. One nation. And, that symbol, you never see a picture of him where he doesn't have his finger in the air. He was constantly articulating that vision such that people said, yeah, okay, we understand the vision. Very simple. So, is there something that you can do to make it visually simple and regularly articulated so that it results in something? Because there's no point in just writing a vision, having it beautifully worded, making an excellent film about it, blah, 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 if it doesn't result in some sort of action. It doesn't really matter so much what your vision is. What matters is what your vision does. Does it inspire other people? Does it lead them to be active inside themselves? Do they get a sense that they need to do something because of your sense of vision? Is it something that you can daily turn to and you can compare current behavior against anticipated behavior? You want to see these results. It may be that you need to make sure that you yourself are walking the talk, as it were. Do you demonstrate the values and the aims of the vision that you've set up for everybody else? Of course, you have to also make sure that people themselves have their own chance to translate the vision into something that they can understand. Because you have articulated it in a nice, simple way. You've articulated how you want things to be different, but they have to know what applies to them. How do they fit in with this broader vision? Now we've got a team vision, great, but how do I contribute? And you need to give them the space that they can translate it into their own role, and they can see, well, how does my job description contribute to this team vision? It's a good idea to regularly share success stories, because that way you can carry on articulating the vision and say, look, we are moving towards to this vision that we're hoping to see. Are there things that you can pull out? And can you recognize other people and say, look, here's this person, they did a great job in contributing towards the vision. And that's powerfully motivating, both for them and for other people who are listening, in fact. And if possible, make sure that there is an open feedback loop so that other staff on your team, other people outside of your team are also able to feed in, and you'll know whether you're on target or whether you need to modify something or you need to change the resources so that you do get onto target. I love the story which involved Michelangelo. Michelangelo, who was he was carving away at a piece of marble. He's sitting out in the hot sun, chipping away at this big block of marble. And a little boy asked him, "What are you doing?" And Michelangelo, he replied, "Well, there's an angel inside this block of marble, just waiting to come out. And I need to remove everything that is not marble until the angel can be seen." And so I use that story as an illustration. I say, once we have got our vision, our actions must focus on creating it. And often this is about removing everything else. We do lots of good things. Our team can do all kinds of great things. But are those the things that we're called to? Instead, we need to focus on our vision and try and cut out everything else so that the vision remains. And that is the thing that we can then really focus on. Because that passion that we can have for a thing, for seeing something become a reality, to change a situation, that's great. And when King David had passion, these 400 men who were lost and feeling miserable and all that, they turned into a mighty army because of the passion that he had, the focus that he had, the dedication that he had. Do your people in your team, do they know that you really love them? That you care about them and their vision, and that together you want to build a combined vision that you can work on? Regularly, you need to be talking to them. You need to be communicating directly with them so that they will buy into your vision, and that together you can move forward to really achieve something.